You guys asked for it, so here we are. It's another EDC Weekly, and we wanted to mix it up, make it a little more interesting this time. So I actually have not seen any of the submissions we're going to talk about today. I'll be seeing them for the first time with you guys as I go through this. Ricky actually chose these, and the theme for this EDC Weekly was fixed blades. So that was the only criteria. I wanted to see some cool and different fixed blades. Obviously, you guys know I'm on a kick right now, fixed blade kick for sure. But with that said, let's do the damn thing. This is kind of weird. Like, I'm normally coming into these kind of knowing what to expect and what to talk about. So this feels totally different, and I kind of like it, being surprised by these submissions. But I mean, just to get us kicked off, I want to talk about the fixed blade in my pocket today. We have the TI Lookout from Big Idea Design, who of course is a channel sponsor, so thank you, Big Eye, for being awesome. If you want to check out this, there is a link down below. These are live on their website right now. You can also use a coupon code, carry on, for 10% off. All right, so the very first submission this week comes from Christian Porterfield, and this is a pretty nice little carry. Ricky, you're definitely influenced by me. Yep. This looks like something I would pick. Yep. I don't know if that's what you did, but that's what happened. But you can find Christian Porterfield over on Instagram at c.porterfield.design. And in this photo, we have a Convoy T3. That's the flashlight to the left of the knife. We have a Chris Reeve small Sub-Benza 31 in Magna Cut, as well as a fixed blade. That is the Northern Knifeworks Stinger in 10V. And then we have a tactile turn side click in Stonewash Titanium, as well as a Lynch Northwest All Access Pass in Battle Bronze finish. Christian said, the T3 is my second attempt at carrying a flashlight. I had a Raylight Pineapple Mini a few years ago and I didn't like it. Some folks in the Discord convinced me to buy this T3, and so far I'm enjoying it. If you guys are not familiar, convoys are kind of like, you can DIY a convoy. So you can put together your own flashlight with everything you want, and it's just kind of a way to build something. I don't know if you can actually buy them complete. Do you know, Ricky?
What? Convoy
flashlights, can you buy them complete, or do you have to build them? Yeah, you could buy one secondary. I don't know, but to my knowledge, convoys are like DIY. You piece them together. You might be able to buy them as is, but for the money, they are really, really good. I had someone send me a convoy when I purchased a knife from them in the Discord, and it's actually a really nice little flashlight. He also says, I've been bitten by the custom fixed blade bug lately. I get it. So this 10V Stinger is a recent pickup as well. I've been a fan of Northern Knifeworks for a while and finally got to have something made by him. The Seb needs no introduction. The pin is a staple in my carry for a couple of years now, and I have no reason to change it. And the All Access Pass was offered by a buddy at a deal I couldn't refuse. The jury is still out on it, but it's been in the pocket for a bit. I'm kind of the same way. I don't really carry pry bars very often. Like, I'll go through a phase. Like, basically Archie will send me another Nice Guy Machine Company pry that he's coming out with and wants me to carry it for a bit and tell him what I think, and I carry it for a bit, I forget to tell him what I think, and then I stop carrying it for a bit. I don't know, I just don't end up using them as much. Like, typically if I'm gonna pry something or scrape, which I think most people probably scrape with pry bars more than anything, I just use like a screwdriver on my Leatherman, honestly. So anyway, this is a really neat carry, and that's really cool. I like that fixed blade a lot. Again, I said it a lot lately, I like a bigger handle, smaller blade. I think it gives you a lot of control, and for 90% of your tasks, you don't really need a big blade. You could have a bigger handle that gives you more control. I like that, and that's a cool looking fixed blade. I've never heard of Northern Knifeworks, but really, really cool. Thank you for sharing. Okay, this one's a little weird. The next submission comes from Russel Lundberg, and you can find him on Instagram at TradeCrafty. This fixed blade looks interesting. Kind of reminds me of the El Pionero from Ed Calderon, because it's got like a little notch for maybe your thumb or pinky if you have a reverse grip on it. But let's just see what all this is. From left to right, in the photo we have a Leatherman Signal, that's the multi-tool in the top left. We also have a brass Beglary made by him. Looks like some brass fittings for some pipe tied with some paracord. If you're not sure what a Beglary is, it's basically just like a little fidget toy or a dexterity tool. There's also a Siri Pick lock picks set at the very top, as well as a copper skull bead bracelet with Ultim Skull by me. That's cool. That also looks very heavy, and I can smell it. It's gotta smell like pennies. Is your arm green? Your arm has to be green too, has to. We also have a Copper Nuck by Russell, as well as a La Bruja fixed blade by Turner CNC. And then to the far right is the Benchmade Shootout, which is an OTF. Yeah, that's an interesting fixed blade, because it's like kind of like not a swayback, but like a Quaken style, but not really. Persian tip almost. Like, that's interesting. Very upswept tip. Almost looks like it should be sharpened on the other side for a hawksbill, but yeah, that's an interesting fixed blade. I don't know what else to say about that. Russell says, I will always have some multi-tool in my carry. The Leatherman signal is on me when I go out in the forest, and I always have something on me that I made myself, usually made out of copper. Looking for the best options for a flashlight in copper. Well, that's an interesting question, because there used to be a lot more copper flashlights. Like Olight would regularly release like a S1 baton in copper. Prometheus, to my knowledge, I don't even know if they still make copper, but they used to make the Beta QR in copper, I believe. I think to get a copper flashlight now, you probably have to go fairly high end, like a custom flashlight, or man, I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. The only one I can think of off the top of my head would just be like a really super budget one, like the Mass Drop. I know they have that in brass. I think they used to have it in copper. Olight may still have an i3T in copper that you could buy. I'm sure you could find it on eBay if it's not still available. But other than those, I don't really know. So if you do know and you're watching this, let Russell know in the comments down below. And thank you again for sharing, Russell. This is really, really cool. So the next submission comes from Juan Jauregui. Hey, Ricky, how do you pronounce that?
I don't know. I would say Jauregui.
And you could find him on Instagram at, yep, Juan Jauregui Jr. I don't know. I'm not going to fight the pronunciation on that. In this photo, we actually have two fixed blades. The wallet at the very top of the photo is the Travax Ascent wallet, and then the watch he has is a Citizen ProMaster Navihawk AT watch. The flashlight that he carries is the Streamlight Wedge, and then he also has a CRKT Williams Defense pen. And now for the fixed blades, he has a Schwartz Overland Sport and Coyote and black canvas micarta scales with a black Kydex sheath, and also a Schwartz Confidente with a leather sheath, like a belt sheath. And then to the very bottom of the photo is a Leatherman Arc. Juan says, not overly bespoke since I'm impatient and I like to buy things that are readily accessible. The wallet, light, and pen have served me well for years, but nothing are really special. The more recent additions and really focal point of my EDC are the blades. I generally alternate between the two fixies, with the Overland Sport being more EDC and the Confidante used more skinning and game processing blades, which is a huge bonus for me. I have a few SEs and OKCs, but these Schwartz knives are, in my opinion, on another level. I agree, they're really, really good. I also have a coupon code. Not sponsored, but I do have a coupon code. Finally, I've always have the Arc on me, either in my pocket or in a Leatherman brand leather sheath on my hip, depending on the fixed blade I choose. Looking for a taco style fold over Kydex sheath for the Overland Sport. A minimalistic leather pocket sheath would be even better. Well, I don't have an answer for either of those, a taco sheath or a leather sheath for the Overland Sport. Yet. You could also just have your knife sent, you could send your knife rather to Oak City Leather Goods and they could probably commission one for you. But I don't know of a brand that's making a leather pocket sheath or a aftermarket Kydex sheath for the Overland Sport yet. You could look into Armitage, because Armitage does do aftermarket Kydex, and they are taco style, but I don't know if they've done anything for the Overland Sport. And then going back to this Overland Sport, it looks fairly used. It's got some marks and scratches on it, and that's what we love to see. So this is your reminder from Worksharp to use your shit and sharpen your knives. Thank you to Worksharp for being a channel sponsor. And thank you, Juan, for sharing this photo. And hopefully you can get a leather sheath for that Overland Sport in due time. But I think Oak City is probably your fastest or easiest solution, maybe also tailored by Cortez, maybe. So the next submission comes from Saul Good, and I know why Ricky chose this. Well, one, he just told me, but like before he told me, you could look at this and tell. Custom work on a CRK is not something you see a whole lot. And then we have a fixed blade that kind of like matches it, which is really neat. So this comes from Saul Good. You can find him on Discord at Strike357. Probably, I'm assuming, in the Best MEDC Discord, which if you're not in there, you should be. It's linked down below, but you can also just go to discord.gg/EDC. So first up in this photo, we have an Impact Pry in titanium by Phoenix Toolworks. We also have a CRK Large and Cozy in Tanto with Magna Cut blade modded by Gecko Customs. I'm actually not familiar with Gecko Customs. The fixed blade is a Ron Steel Designs spare rib in a Magna cut with TI handles, and then finally to the bottom right, Yellow Day Energy Reckitt LYT flashlight. Saul says, highly recommend Ron Steel Designs. He is currently my go-to fixed blade maker. I have quite a few fixed blades from him, and he is very reasonably priced and very easy to work with. Overall, very cool dude who is willing to try new things and is very open to custom designs. And Saul's not looking for anything. I wouldn't either. This is a really sweet carry, and I have heard of the spare rib as a fixed blade. I've never looked into them, but I have definitely heard of the spare rib because I think it's a really cool name and it just kind of jumps out at you. But the work from Gecko Customs on this Inkosi is pretty sweet. So mill holes throughout the handle, which gives it a really different look. Like that spices up CRK quite a bit. Like I'm a huge fan of just very plain, understated designs, but one could argue that, you know, CRK could mix things up and do some of this stuff for themselves, but they don't, which whatever, that's their own choice. But you can go to someone like Gecko or Recalcitrant American, I believe is the account, and then there's another one. Cap City Creations is another one. So those are the three that I know of that'll do a custom job on a CRK. Well, also what he doesn't call out here is that you've got looks like a Lynch Northwest clip on the Inkosi, deep carry TI milled clip, and then there's also a backspacer. I cannot remember who makes that backspacer. Not off the top of my head, but we will link that down below. Jekyll and Hyde, that's correct. Well, there's two companies that makes CRK backspacers.
Oh, I think that's a Jekyll and Hyde one though.
Okay, I mean, Jekyll and Hyde backspacer. Very, very cool. I like that fixed blade a lot. Like, a lot. I'm not typically like a Wharncliffe or Sheep's Foot. Well, I take that back. I've really come around to liking Sheep's Foot a lot, but Wharncliffe kind of not fully there. So this one is kind of a hybrid between the two, I'd say. More Wharncliffe, but like a good Wharncliffe. There are some Wharncliffes I really do not like, but this one, I do like that a lot. So thank you for sharing, Saul. So the fifth and final submission this week comes from Sid Scotchman, and for obvious reasons. You can find Sid over on Instagram at _Chiefs_EDC. We've seen Sid quite a bit here on the EDC Weekly. Obviously not lately because we haven't done a whole lot of these in the last year or so, but Sid is, I would say, at this point, probably a regular. This is really cool. So, first up, Olight Cracked Brass Warrior. That's the flashlight. That one's in brass, but again, they do stuff like this, just going back to the request from earlier, they do stuff like this in copper and brass and different materials pretty regularly, so if you're looking for something, you might turn to Olight for something like a larger, like S2 baton. I don't even know the models anymore, but a baton or warrior or whatever in like a special edition. Underneath that, a coin I designed and dropped from the Chiefs EDC or Sid. We also have the new fixed blade from Vero Engineering, the Mylan, which is a drop point, which looks really nice. A little bit smaller, it seems, than the Axon fixed blade as well. And then to the right of that is a folder, also from Vero Engineering, that is the Synapse with brass scales. Sid says, I've been getting into fixed blades more, you and a lot of other people too, and I've had the Mylan in my pocket since I got it, and I absolutely love it. I also have a coin for me for quick decision making and for luck, and also looking for nothing. Well, I've yet to get my hands on the Mylan. I don't even think I handled the Mylan.
I don't think you did either. It was at Blade Show, Texas.
Yeah, it was at Blade Show, Texas. I wasn't there. So I have not even had my hands on the Mylan yet. Really interested to check it out though. It looks damn near perfect, if I do say so myself. It's the right size, and I really like the way that like the Vero Axon fixed blade works in the sheath and with the clip from Vero. Obviously, we don't know what his carry solution for this is, but it looks great. I love the ease of customizing the Vero fixed blades because of just easy scale swaps and stuff and the open availability of those scales. I think Joseph is doing some really cool stuff. Obviously, his folders are very popular, but he is kind of crushing it right now with fixed blades as well. But thank you again for sharing, Sid, once more and being featured. Real quick before we wrap this up, I have a couple of things. One, Ricky did all the back end work for this, which meant that when I opened this iPad and turned on this camera, it was the first time I was seeing these submissions, which means that you're getting like a real raw reaction, which for me made this a lot more interesting, but I don't know if it moved the needle for you guys at all. Just want to know your thoughts on that. But second, if you want to submit for the next EDC Weekly, I want to see your best budget carries. Go to edcw.co and submit the cheapest, most affordable, but still awesome carries that you guys have. I mean, you can submit whatever you want, but if you want to be featured in the next video, we're doing budget. And that's it for this week. Thank you guys again. We're going to be doing these again regularly. I don't know how often, but we're going to try to get back to maybe weekly, maybe. We're not like promising yet, but we're trying. So thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Everything I talked about will be linked in the description down below. And that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. And until then, carry on.